All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bailey Egbert, and with me is the captain, Mr. Andy Full. I appreciate you and Deacon taking over the ropes on Monday so I could take a much needed date night with a lady. So,
Happy belated birthday for the 100th time.
yeah,
So
3 years of experience being 21.
yeah, fun.
You know how many people I posted on Facebook saying like 3 years of experience being 21, trying to make like a stupid dad joke, and like how many people messaged me saying happy anniversary, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Your posts with your fiance, like, congrats." And I'm like, "Read that again," and they're like, "Oh, happy birthday."
So people are so dumb.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of people at this point. It's funny. Like social media has us so brainwashed that we can think we can look at a picture and think something that it is completely separate from what like the reality is. Like in that situation, happy anniversary. It's like, no, idiot, it's my birthday. Like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
they do that constantly.
Social media puts a perspective in your head of like about somebody or about something, then you see it in real life, you're like, oh.
Oh,
That's
one of
not
my
as cool.
one
Or
of
you
my
see something, you're like, oh, this is way cooler than I thought. Like,
yeah.
there's people in fishing right now that are getting like shredded because like they're like sharing fish. Like they they'll catch a fish, like one of them catch a fish, and then the other person will like change the angle of the picture and like take a picture of the other person's
Look at
fish.
this 10-pounder we just caught.
Yeah, they make like different stories for each. I don't know. Social media is take it with
It-
a grain of salt, I guess. That's what we're trying to get at. But
one of my
yeah.
favorites is I think like 2 or 3 months ago I posted a steelhead with like snow on the ground, and people literally messaged me like, "Did you catch that today?" I'm like, "Do you not see the snow?" Like,
It is June. No, it is not
yeah,
snowing. Yes,
yeah,
it's New York and it can happen, but no, it is not
yeah.
snowing.
I was like, "You people are dumb." Like, why are you
Yeah.
asking if I got that today? Oh,
Install a couple of brain cells into this next comment.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But again, thank you, Deacon, for letting me take the night off. We have a cool show tonight. Obviously, today is a Friday. We are nearing on our last weekends, especially for our guest today, Adam Bartusek, who is making his resurface back to the show tonight. I'm sure he's counting down the weekend before he's not able to hit the open water anymore. But Andy, I think we're counting down, but not as fast as those out in the Midwest, because at this point, with our water temps right now, you might be fishing until January.
I don't even know what it is. I think Erie. Oh, I can tell you. I
It
want
was
to say.
62 last Saturday. I can tell you that.
I want to say it's 58. Hold on.
I think it's going to be cold tonight and into the weekend, so that might drop even more. It could be
It's
firing on all
60.
cylinders this next
The
week.
blade bait bite just started,
That's good.
like a month late.
Yeah, I was telling you and Jeff, like the only bite I could get on, like they wouldn't eat a drop shot, wouldn't eat a Ned, played around with different baits and all that jazz, wouldn't eat Maxent, but the only thing I could get him to eat was a jigging spoon.
Mm-hmm.
You had to make him eat, which for the fall bite is weird. But now I think that should be starting now that we have a couple more days of consistent. We had like those 3 days that got like mid 70s after we had our first big cold front, but it was
Yeah,
weird.
it was
But,
funky. It
yeah,
happens
hopefully
every year.
hopefully some big old smallmouth videos coming to you guys. That'll be posted this winter. But we were just straight mashing on them, seeing all the silliness that goes down. Which it sounds like our guest is about to get into some silliness, and we'll just bring him on now. Our good buddy, Mr. Adam Bartusek. What's going on, dude?
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been what, like fantasy fishing?
Yeah, I think it was,
July.
yeah, it would have been right before the Northern Swing. I don't remember the last one I did. I think I did Champlain, maybe.
I think there was a show after the the season recap that you did.
Yeah, we did a recap.
Oh, okay. Maybe I was on that. But either way, it's been a long time.
It has. It's been several months, but it's good to have you back, dude. But
Yeah, happy to
how
be
are things?
back.
Yeah, how are things in the Midwest, dude?
Good. I mean, man, it was like 70s to 80s here until probably week and a half ago. Bailey, you came up here, didn't you? And it was warm, and then all of a sudden it just plummeted.
Yeah, I was there for 3 days, and I flew in on a Tuesday, and it was like high 70s. And then 2 days later, when I was flying home, driving to the airport, it was 31.
Yeah,
it was a complete shift.
Yeah, fall has set in up here, which is good. Like, we really needed it. We still haven't gotten any rain. There's lakes that are like 2 feet low, so that's gonna be weird. But yeah, cooling off, which is welcomed. You look at the extended forecast, it looks like we're gonna have ice right when we're kind of used to having it, and crossing my fingers that we will, anyways. But yeah, it's just been, man, I've just been on the road, just gone. So it's just a whirlwind. Been crazy. Been a crazy like 10 months.
Yeah, I mean, was it this time last year, or has it been over a year that you've kind of started your own little gig and pretty much run away with it, dude?
It's like a year and a half now.
Is it a year and a half?
Basically, yeah. I mean,
Still
last year this time though, I was sitting here basically with no work. Like, I didn't have anything. I just finished all the open water. I didn't really have any plans for ice fishing. I think me and Sobe had just finished filming The Bite season 2 about right now. And yeah, I got home. I was like, hey, I got a few weeks to chill, and kind of chilled out, watched some football. And then me and Waldo decided to do the Crappie Chronicles, and kind of everything really launch padded after that. So about this time last year, honestly, I didn't really know what I was going to be doing. I thought I might be applying for real jobs. So yeah, there was a bit of that contemplation going on, but ever since, I mean, the last 11 months have been just nuts.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
so
I
busy
mean,
as ever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think so. The talent was there, but you really let the talent kind of expose itself when you did Crappie Chronicles, where people really got to see a glimpse. And I think that was like the nail in the head resume builder for you to therefore get, work doing the elites with Scott and with Hank and, all the different guys that you got to work with that really built that portfolio. I think Crappie Chronicles, one, you did a damn good job. I don't think there was a second I didn't watch. I know a bunch of guys that were on the same boat as that. I think that really was what took off for you, and that is why you're successful now. And you haven't looked back.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. I mean, it was huge. Like, I look back on it now, and I really did that that was straight up a passion project. Like, I had nothing scheduled or anything. I had nothing on my own YouTube, but I kind of had some plans and ideas of what stuff I wanted to do. And yeah, I just talked to Waldo and Griff and was like, hey, do you guys want to do this? And they're like, sure, whatever your vision is, let's try it. And did it. And yeah, launch padded everything. Like, it was nice to finally, rather than telling other people's stories, kind of being able to tell my own story and go do my own thing. So that was a lot of fun. And like, the one was really big too. So getting to do a lot of that was really big. And yeah, it's just been, like I said, it's just been nuts. Like, to give you an idea, like, I looked at my truck today, and in the last 10 months, I've put on like 42,000 miles. Yeah.
Moving.
By the time December 10th or something, I'll have over 50 in a year.
Dude.
Ouch.
That's something we're gonna dive into in a second here, is the reason for those mileages. But I think you brought up something that I wanted to ask a question. I don't know if you're able to answer it or not, but will we see another season of the one?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say or not, but I didn't film anything with Sam, and that's being dead honest. Like, I talked to him, and he said he wasn't planning on doing it, so I wouldn't expect it. But
he's too busy partying about his.
He maybe did something else. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. But like, we both, with the Opens getting rescheduled into October, and then like stuff that was going on up here in September, like, there wasn't even a time to do it. Like, even if we wanted to, I don't know how we would have did it. So I don't, you won't see another season, maybe in the future. Like, we still really want to do it. It's a lot of fun, but
just wasn't in the calendar.
Yeah, it's just too busy, too tough. It was too hard.
I think he's still partying in the tree stand, celebrating your guys' Tourney Tuesday Team of the Year deal.
Yeah. No, I think he's gearing up for ice right now. I haven't even talked to him much, other than he was staying right by us at the last Open, so I got to talk with him quite a bit. But I know he's been hunting a lot, and I think he's just been recharging the batteries, which kind of is something I need to do. But recharging the batteries, getting ready for ice, because I mean, you guys get a bit of it, but like when the ice hits up here in Minnesota, like it is this niche market of just straight up craziness for like 2 or 3 months. And I mean, like you saw last year with me doing the Chronicles, like you can launch your career in literally a month if you do it right. It's totally possible. And like if you just get recharged and you're ready to hit it hard, like the possibilities are literally endless because the viewership and everything is just there.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked. I mean, we are definitely not we definitely have a popular, area for ice fishing, but we are not Minnesota or Wisconsin.
We don't have diehards like that are just so gear headed towards it. We have guys that go out, sit on a bucket, and they might have like a Markham or a Vexler.
Yeah. No, it's crazy here. Like it's the Mecca. Like it really is. Like the St. Paul Ice Show. It's like, honestly, I think it's the biggest sports show probably that happens. And I don't know attendance numbers from the Classic off the top of my head. But like, dude, the St. Paul Ice Show reels in like, I want to say almost 100,000 people in 3 days. Like it's crazy. So that's super fun. But yeah, it's a weird niche market, and it's fun to be a part of, just right in the heat of it.
Yeah. The only place I'd say that might come close for a niche market in New York for ice fishing is probably Oneida for walleye. Because there's a lot of guys who travel there for walleye fishing.
Yeah.
You get some diehards, but then you just get a lot of idiots where they claim to be diehards, but they'll just make really dumb decisions.
Yeah.
Like going out on a snowmobile in like 3 inches of ice.
Yeah, we just freeze solid for 5 months. So it's either you sit at home, stare at lake maps, or you go out and ice fish. So,
or you do what Josh Douglas does and go live.
Or you just go down to Florida.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
That one.
Yeah. I did it this year. It did not suck. It was not terrible.
Although once you're there long enough, 70s is cold, I hear.
Yeah, well, once you're there long enough too, I mean, honestly, like you just get bored. Anyways, the way I am, like I get bored of the same thing like all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to kind of get changes. Like with being on the road as long as I have this year, like February, I drove to the first elite event at the St. John's. Then we went to Knoxville, and it was a little chilly there. But I mean, honestly, for the most part, like since February, other than maybe, like 7 days I could count, I've been in like 60s or more for like 10 months. And I don't know how snowbirds do it, because I'm like, I need something to change. Like it's just getting monotonous almost.
Too warm.
Mm-hmm. And I love the heat. Like Eufaula in June, I was loving it. But yeah, it's just I'm ready for kind of to flip a switch a bit.
I hear you. So, dude, let's backtrack, because you mentioned you've been putting on a lot of miles in the truck, and one of those is you had your first year competing in the Bassmaster Opens, and it was the Southerns, correct? Or was it the Centrals?
I did the Centrals. Yeah.
So I don't want to, give you any PTSD or anything like that, but it'd be cool to walk through the tournaments and kind of go through of, leading up to your practice. Let's say get something that good came out of each tournament, maybe a lesson you learned, and we'll go tournament by tournament. But it'd be cool to hear how the tournament went, and then something you learned from that tournament, and then something that you think you did well in that tournament.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I also fished the Alabama Bass Trail 100 circuit this year, so like that too, learned a ton there. But yeah, I mean, kind of going through it, I guess. I feel like this will probably be a good, more real life interview for people, being like, because everybody who does well in the Opens gets interviewed and all that. But
yeah, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
No, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It can suck, and like you can have good practices and just suck. But Like the first one I had, like my first tournament this year was like January, I don't know, 9th or something on Lay Lake, for the Alabama Bass Trail. It was really cold there. It was like high of 40 and it rained every single day. It was, yeah, like, dude, I'd rather be ice fishing. Like me and James, my partner there, were talking about it. I was like, dude, I'd rather be on the ice. This is miserable. Like, it was just terrible. But that tournament, we couldn't find any largemouth. Like, we tried. We were there for 4 days of practice, and we never caught a largemouth. We tried for a lot. And, like, most of our practice was, like, even on a, like, Lay Lake, where there are spots everywhere, it was, like, 5 bites max a day. It was really tough. But the tournament came around. We found some areas that had good concentrations of fish. We thought we were going to need, like, 14 pounds to get a check. So we were up in the Coosa, way up in the Coosa River, and we were reaming on a bunch of like 1.5s, 2s, and like every once in a while catch a 2.5, but like you were really working through them to upgrade. And eventually we were just like, well, let's get out of here, and ended up learning in that one, trust your instinct that the bite is terrible and not that you don't know what you're doing, because if we would have stayed there and milked out a couple more 2.5s, instead of weighing 11.25 or 11.5 like we did and taken 32nd, we would have weighed like 12.5, 13 and taken like 15, literally just by milking through them more. And because we were like 3/4 pound out of a check, it was terrible.
That's tight. Like,
yeah, no, it was super really tight weights. Like, I think Swindle took second with like 17. Like, there were a couple bags over 15, but like it dropped fast. Like 10th place might have been 13 pounds if I remember right. 14. It was very steep drop off. But yeah, learned at that one, and then we went to the first Open. Well, it was supposed to be Smith Lake in April, but then it got postponed because if you remember, April and March in Alabama, the whole state was underwater.
Yeah, and tornado bombs everywhere.
It was insane. Like, I was following the elites there, so like I felt like I was constantly hearing tornado sirens.
Oh, yeah, right. That was Pickwick, right?
Yeah, I was at Pickwick. Yep. So yeah, that was crazy. Lake came up 6 feet in a day. Never seen anything like it.
That's really.
Yeah, I was staying with Scott and Ari, and we had to like go get we didn't have to go to one of the storm shelters everyone else was in. Like, the Airbnb owner we had a house down the street we went to. But yeah, dude, it was bad. It was
a long way from Minnesota.
Yeah. But no, so then the first Open ended up being at Pickwick, and I really like Pickwick. Like, I really do. I got there and I was really comfortable there. And everywhere basically up lake, it would be from like Bear Creek. I really liked that area of the lake. It fished a lot like the Mississippi River, I thought, but it had grass like Minnetonka. So it had grass out to, 10 feet in places. And I got on a really good practice. Like, I had 2 or 3 days where I caught 15 to 18 maybe. Like, I was pretty confident one of the days I could have caught like 23 pounds. Like catching them good, calling shots.
Yeah.
And then, it like first lesson at the Opens, like I got really dialed in on a pattern, and you hear a lot of guys say, like, when you get really dialed in, like you just overlook things. And like looking back on it, it's just like, man, you idiot. Like I was catching them on a chatterbait and a rattle trap, just like crawling it over the grass. And I didn't get a lot of bites, but they were always big. And tournament day, I think I dumped 2 big ones in the morning, caught 1 big one, but then all of a sudden I had a short day. So it was like 1 o'clock. I had to be in at 2, and it's a 40-minute run. I was like, well, what am I going to do? Like, I can't go just pick up any fish on the way back. I'm fishing all the way up the lake for the most part. And so did bad both days, just didn't catch them doing that, and ended up hurrying up too much, so I don't think I was fishing slow enough. And the big thing was, like, I ended up talking to a few guys, like 7 of the top 10 were literally in eyesight of me. Like I could see him the whole day catching fish.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. But like Joey, he caught like 23 pounds or whatever he had day one, like right next to me. Like I watched him idle away and look at his buddy and be like, yeah, I got like 22. And I was like, I'd be sick. But ended up talking to a handful of guys that were in that area, and a lot of them said they ended up picking up a spinning rod on game day. And like being from the north, like I should have picked up a spinning rod, like a Neko rig, a drop shot, a jig worm. Like we throw that up here, just a mushroom head with a worm. Just stuff like that. And I just never did because I just glued a trap and a chatterbait on my deck, and I was like, that's what I'm going to throw. So I learned a lot from that one.
So you were going just for bigger bites essentially, but you remember too late that the Opens is a point system. You think that you might not have won picking up a drop shot, but if you did, maybe you would have positioned yourself better. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Yeah, I mean for overall points, and like to be honest, like my first year in the Opens, like you see guys who qualify their first year, and like some of them do really great, and a lot of them burn out because they just can't get there. So my thoughts were like I wanted to get the experience and really see what it's like, and like I wanted to fish for points so I'd have a shot to do it. But like I think Panger was talking on BTL the other day about this, and him and I talked about it a lot. Like the tournaments you can swing at, you have to swing. Like you have to. And I got to Pickwick and I was like, yeah, I should be able to do all right here, finish around the, check line or whatever. And my practice was so good that I was like, I have to swing. Because I don't know what Smith or Grand are going to be like. So I'm going to swing, try to make a top 10 here. So and I didn't, and it sucks. So then you just get in, you're completely out of the points race. So for the rest of the year, you're like, well, I'm just going to swing.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go big. Why not? I mean, when you're out of position, I mean, I'm speaking. So like Bradley Holman, I listened to the show with BTL he did, and like how he was talking, like he was out of it, and then he just completely dropped out of the division because like his goal is to make the elites. I'm gonna use it like I'm gonna save funds and whatever for next year. But in someone like your case, it's like it's your first one. Like you need to get the experience, get the time under your belt, running those bigger events. And whether, win or lose, last place or first, I mean, it's going to get you better experience going in next season so that you have that big field event under your belt so that you know how to manage things.
And just like knowing how much 200 boats crushes a fishery, like, holy cow, guys talk about it, but my God, dude, it is insane.
Everywhere you go, there's a boat.
And you can fit in kind of wherever you want. Like Smith, I never really had a problem. Grand, I didn't either. But Pickwick was more tight because like I was fishing around Kroger Island, which is like very notorious. So like you'd pull in there, go to your grass stretch, and there's 8 boats you can see. But you're just like I got really dialed into like what they were sitting on, like. I graphed a lot of that once I figured out what it was, and I knew where the ditches were, like where I needed to be. So I was pretty confident pulling into there. But yeah, I mean, like with Hallman's situation, like that he does this for a full-time living, right? So like it makes sense then if you're out of it to get out of it and save expenses. Like for me, those 3 are the 3 I'm doing, and like I have another job. So like yes, it sucks spending the money and losing it, but at the same time, it's like I can kind of afford to go there and really learn the tough lessons, which is why, like, I say, like, I think people should do it. And it's really hard to go show up for the other ones when you don't have a chance, like driving a Grand and you were like, why the heck am I even going right now? But I think it also just like your mentality, not giving up. Like that's a huge thing for me. Like, just trying to stay in it and be like, don't give up because it can happen at any point in time and just keep plugging through type of deal.
Yeah, you might not make the elites, but you might make the classic.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, I'll try to make a classic, like even try to make a top 10. I thought that'd be really cool. Just get my first check, like just trying to do those things and learn the tough lessons. So yeah, Pickwick was really tough. Then came back to Minnesota. But like from that, I learned like I basically made a pact with myself after that tournament. Like I will never fish a tournament without at least 8 rods on my front deck. Like it might not be 15 or 20, but like even if I'm dialed, I'm gonna have out 5 baits I might throw 4 times, but just have them there because I'm the type of guy that once I start grooving, I don't pull them out, even if they're tied in the rod locker. So just having them out. So when I got back to Minnesota, I kind of made that deal with myself. Like, I'm not going to do that again. And it, like, also, like, if I think I know the pattern, I'm not going to just only do that. Like, I'm going to say, okay, this is my pattern, but I'm going to make sure there's nothing else. And if there is, at least I have a little something else. So then, had a few tournaments, like had an unbelievable tournament season in Minnesota. And I really think a lot of that came from the lessons at like Lay Lake of like, trust your instincts of what you think the weight's going to be, what you think you need. And then Pickwick of just like, don't rule out anything and try to fish new water on game day. So like I took both those back and had a really good summer in Minnesota. But like June, and we had the ABT 100 on Eufaula. That event irks me, and honestly, why I'm really excited to go. Like, I'm pretty tired of tournament fishing right now, but I'm really glad the team championship that I qualified for, because of how good we did this summer, is on Eufaula. Because June, when James and I were there, we got on them right away. Like, I told him, I was like, I don't want to Pickwick over again. Like, every morning we got to go try shad spawn, whatever, like look for anything. But we got really dialed into brush piles. We knew like exactly where they were. Like, it was kind of cool. Even like James was telling me he figured out 2 of the areas of Eufaula, and he explained it to me, and we ended up running with it. Was you pattern the brush pile maker, not the fish. So, like, in a certain area of Eufaula, one guy drops the brush piles. He drops them in the same spots. So, like, Jim over in this area of the lake, right? He loves trenches. So they're all in the trenches. All the new ones that year, he put them all in the trenches. So you go there and you scan and you're like, oh, there they are. And you check a couple other areas, but there's nothing there. Then you go to another part of the lake and, like, you know, George loves the tips of points. So then you just go scan the tips of points and you're like, oh, there they are.
Huh. I've never heard that before. That's pretty
juicy.
juicy.
So like James came up with it. It was really cool. So like any brush pile fishery I get to now, I immediately think of it, because it's like someone puts those down and nobody goes out there and just meanders around and chucks them. They put them in a certain spot and they're patternable. So that was cool. So and we got really into them, and then we had terrible boat troubles all of practice.
Oh man!
We brought 2 boats down, and we just had like the bug. To give you an idea of how bad it was, the last day of practice, day before the tournament on Friday at 10 a.m., both him and I were in the machine shop.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oops.
That's brutal.
We brought 2 boats to avoid that problem.
And both boats went down on the same day.
Out of commission. Yeah. So it was like, God dang. And then tournament day, we lost a bunch of them and just didn't fish clean. It was just like a week from hell. Like, just terrible bad luck. And even with that, we had 4 3-pounders in our live well and like 1 squeaker. And we're running in, and I could tell there was current flowing. So I pulled up to a ledge that I'd fished like 4 days ago, and there were a couple on. And I was like, well, the current's going. There should be more here. We pulled up, and I caught a little one first cast. James dumped like a 5 or 6 pounder, like right as it jumped. And we were like, well, we got to run in. And you're like, well, had our opportunities. Like, we had a legit opportunity to be like top 5. And just like a bad week. And the moment we weighed in, Chapman won a cooler and all our luck turned around. So just kind of the way it goes.
I want to go back really fast. So the pattern, what's the term you used? You said pattern the angler. The drop, like the guy who's dropping the brush
Pattern
pile?
the brush pile maker, not the fish.
So if you find them, they're on brush piles, and you find them, say, on a tip of a point, and they're on those brush piles, does that mean you're just going to start running tips of points and seeing if there's brush piles on them?
Yeah, I mean, because once you figured out which brush piles they were in, you didn't even have to look for other ones. They were there. Like, I don't know how many times. That's why you scan for, like, I scan for like 12, 14 hours a day on Eufaula.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, literally, dude, you scan one and you're like, oh, I'll throw something in there and see if there's one there. And you throw in first cast and it's dong. You're like, oh, cool. So, like, that's your excitement of practice. Like, sweet. So then, like 4 hours later, when you find some other ones, you're like, I wonder if they're still here. And you throw in and dunk. You're like, oh, who would have guessed?
Next one, here we go.
Yeah.
So if you find them on the tips of points then in brush, say like there's saddles or ditches or trenches like you mentioned, and they're in those too, like will they get in more than one different thing, or is it usually
it's just the brush pile makers they'll be in brush piles, right?
Okay.
But the certain areas of the lake, the good brush piles are only in a certain thing. Like there were some areas where they were mixed up a little more, where I think a few people dropped them. But for the most part, like you get in a certain area of the lake, it was like one thing. Like, and that's where they were. So you just scanned around for them. So
That's
like
cool.
we were fishing some in trenches. We had some like in 4 feet up on top of flats. Some out in 17 feet out on ledges, but like they're just in brush. I mean, there's nothing else there on Eufaula. So there's a few ledges, but like I found 1 megawatt on a ledge on day one of practice, or on like Monday of practice. There was like 40 of them there. And the next day went out and there were 3 guide boats on it. So you're like, well, that's gone. Like went back. We were the last boat on tournament day. So like on the way down, we just kind of went by it and scanned it. And I was like, there ain't a fish left here. They're all gone. They all left.
Yeah. I mean, you hear guys talk about that, like on a ledge fishery or a smallmouth fishery, when there's a big school there, they're like, if you find it day one, mark a waypoint and then forget about it because most likely, tournament day, they're already gone.
Yeah, we went there once and like through 4 casts and we were like, yeah, no, they're not here. They're not hiding. Staying here.
We talked about. Did we talk about the second open already?
No. So then I just had the 2 opens in the fall. So Smith Lake, which was recently, I got Mega Live. I borrowed my buddies, and I was psyched about that to get down there. I was only going to have 2.5 days of practice though, because I had a bunch of work I had to get done still. So I was like, I'll get down there. I'll practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, half day, and that one I decided I'm only going to fish this part of the lake. I basically said I'm going to stay within 7 miles of the dam, make that my lake, and figure out how to catch them there. Day one, caught like 13, 14 pounds, had a pretty good day. Went around, could see them on live, and dude, by Wednesday, like you poke a live deucer at their face and they're like, nope. Swim right away.
Like a flashlight in the dark. There's no one that's coming over them.
Yeah, so
no.
Yeah, they were like, So yeah, that one, I mean, and we got all that rain, and we weren't supposed to get rain when I made that plan. So then all of practice in my head, I was just like, I need to run as far up one of these creeks and just throw a buzzbait. And I just didn't do it because I was like, I said I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to see how it goes, just for learning experience. And day one, I just got a bad rotation. I made a bad decision and I blast off. I started on a brush pile right by the takeoff because I was like, oh, maybe I can pick one up here. There were a couple there literally yesterday. I scanned my live by it. I saw a handful of them. Got there, none there. Ran to another brush pile, which in retrospect was really stupid because it was cloudy. Then at like 11, I pulled into this pocket, which is what like my gut was saying, start there. I found it 2 days earlier, had a ton of bait in it. And when I got there, it was going down. But I could not catch a keeper. I could only catch 8 to 14 inches. And I had like 3 giants come try to eat my top water and miss it. I chased a blueback school in there for a little bit and lost 2 big ones that were chasing the blueback school. Like, it was just a bad day.
Good grief.
So then I zeroed day 1. Day 2, I didn't have a co. So I was like, I'm just going to fish all new water. Ran around fishing all new water, caught a couple shorts, found a brush pile, caught like a 3 3/4 out of it. I was like, that's sick. I thought it was a striper. Then went in. It was just a bad tournament. But then basically my biggest lesson from that one was listen to your gut and practice. Like, even if you show up and you're like, I'm going to do this, and you're like, I should probably run up a creek. You should probably run up a creek.
Yeah.
It's an expensive learning experience. But
very much. But like, I have those lessons now.
Yeah. And dude, that's so hard though. Like, that is the hardest part of fishing is you're about to blast off. All right, where do we go first? Like, very rarely is there a clear-cut decision. And at times,
especially when like all week of practice with that rain, it was getting a little dirty. The fishing was getting bad. And like me and Pangrat got on the same deal. And like him and I were talking, I was like, dude, I'm getting less bites every day. And he's like, me too. I was like, this is not good. This is a really bad problem to have. Like, I hope I can squeak a couple out and just get by. But yeah, like he said, you heard him say he only got 5 bites day 1.
Yeah.
Or 5 keeper bites. You know, I caught like 40 fish on day 1. They were just like 12 of them were 14.5 to 14 and 15/16.
That's enough to drive somebody mad when they're like 1 inch too short every single time.
A 16th of an inch too short every time.
Yeah, they're so close. Like, if you could pinch the tail in the opens, I would have weighed in a limit.
Go figure.
Yeah, because they only fan it, so you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, so that one was tough. I mean, that was my first time on a blueback fishery. Like, everyone says how much they hate them. I really didn't mind it. Like, granted, I did terrible, but like kind of fishing it and doing it, like kind of just realized you go to contours and then you meander around. Really, that's kind of what it is.
It's kind of like chasing Cisco chasers, right?
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of like chasing Cisco chasers. So it's like, okay, here one day, gone the next, and just getting more experience on those type of fisheries, really. So you have, like, people say memories kill you, but God, I would kill to have some memories on those type of places where you could at least be like, I'm going to breeze by here. This has been good before. You have confidence in certain things so you can adjust on the fly, because it's really hard to adjust on the fly when you've never been there and you don't have much experience.
Right. So let's move on from that one and talk about your favorite one and the one you think you did the best on.
Grand. Yeah, good old.
I say that out of sarcasm.
Yeah, no, I mean, Grand, like, dude, I was mad at him driving to Grand, so I was like, okay, like, what am I gonna do? I talked to Panger and a couple other buddies and kind of got an idea of what the lake is like, and I knew I was gonna have to fish shallow. I hate fishing shallow. But I was like, all right, learning experience. We're just gonna pick the trolling motor up and fish shallow. I'll practice. And day 1, I caught a couple keepers, nothing crazy, and I didn't really get on a pattern at all. They were just random, and that's kind of what everybody was saying. They're like, everything's really random. Day 2 of practice, I decided to fish the flats in Horse Creek for 6 hours. Because I was like, I'm just going to see if I can find, because like Horse Creek is notoriously so good. So I was like, I'm just going to meander these flats, like kind of the Mississippi River kind of has the same type of things. And if you just dedicate it to it, normally you'll run into a couple spots and they're normally only big ones. And that's what I'd heard Grand was like. So I did that for 6 hours, never got a bite. And I was like, hey, this sucks. I'm not doing this anymore. Probably should have pulled the cord after 3 hours, but whatever.
Right.
And then I ran to just this pocket, and there was a lot of mud, and there was a little bit of harder bottom on the outside, but like, dude, my boat was in a foot of water, and like I was casting into shallow. Like, I don't even know how shallow it was, and got in there and caught a couple shorts, like one keeper, and I was going out of it, and I saw a point, and I just chucked a spinnerbait at the point and caught like a 5.5.
Whew.
So I was like, okay, cool, that's sweet. Well, you know, let's see what we can do with that. Ran to a different pocket that looked kind of like it, and got to the back, caught like a 3-pounder. So then I was like, all right, maybe I got a little something going. So, you know, you talk to guys and try to figure out patterns. And what I had drawn the conclusion of was, with the cool offs coming, I was like, they're coming to me. I just don't think there's a lot of them here yet. I need it to get colder. And it was getting colder. And second to last day of practice, went around and ran those cuts, caught a limit with my co-angler that would have been, 13, 14 pounds. Last day of practice, last day I got excited because I was like, hey, I'm going to run this pattern. I put 3 rods on my front deck just to burn water. And I ran into 4 pockets and caught 4 keepers, and they were all good ones, like 2.5 to 3.5 pounds. And it felt like I was like, I could pull in, see what I needed, leave. And like, I could look at Google Earth, see what I needed, leave. Yeah. But the problem was my bite got better as the day went on, because like you needed to get cold to suck them in, but then you needed to get warm so they get up on that really shallow mud, because otherwise they like just chase stuff around in the middle of the cut and you can't catch them. That's what I found anyways. Because like none of the cuts I was fishing were like what you saw guys on the final day, like those steep banks and stuff. I wasn't doing that. Like I was way back. So then, day one, I drew boat 1, and I was like, of course, like get the boat 1 curse. That's sick. So might as well get it all out of the way the first year of the Opens. Ran to my first few spots, and they're bad. Then like I looked at my code, and I was like, dude, 10, 11 o'clock's gonna hit. It's sun's gonna come out, and they're gonna start biting. And they did. They were just all little. I got 1 line burner and went in. But day 2, I was excited because the weights weren't crazy enough that like I could still get to check range. Like I'd have to crack 18 to 20, but I knew it was possible there. Like at Grand, that's total, dude, you pull into the right pocket at Grand, you can catch like 23 pounds. I mean, it's been shown in so many events,
if not more.
Yeah. So then what sucked for me was I went and I dead last boat out, which is awful, by the way, just terrible, because you can only go like 50 and just boat wakes everywhere. I went and started. I threw top water for the first 3 hours, just trying to get a bite, and because I'd heard a lot of guys were getting big bites on top water, and I was, after the day before, I was like, why the hell am I going to run into these pockets when I'm not going to catch anything? And after like 2.5 hours, I was like, all right, let's go run the pockets, and I'm running across a creek and threw a blade. So then, then Chad came and got me and dragged me for 2 hours back, because he zeroed day 1. So he was cool with it. And then just like the ultimate setting in, this sucks and like this is so real moment was, he pulled me to where Kenta was fishing, and I went up shallow, and like that 5 miles of bank is notorious so good. And I fished it for the last 6 hours on the way in, and I caught 2 shorts.
And that's where he blasted.
Yeah, I mean, because I could only run a trolling motor.
Man, that's tough.
Yeah.
Salt to the burn.
Super fun.
All right.
Yeah, well, but I mean, just I guess for anyone listening to me just preach about how much it sucked for the last 15, 20 minutes or whatever it was. No, you just make it through a year and strap up and go do it again. this thoughts start sinking into your head like day 2 when you're really sucking. You're like, should I even be here? Like, am I good enough to do this? And you never really know till you go. And like, obviously, maybe I'm not right now.
Or it just wasn't your year.
Yeah, or it just wasn't my year. And you just look back. Like, I look at the tournaments I had locally, and you're like, okay, I did unbelievable there. Like, took second in the biggest trail in the state. You know, did really good in some really big one-off events here. And you're like, okay, like, you're good enough locally. And then go to the ABTs, and we finished like, you know, top third of the pack against a bunch of locals in both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, you can totally do it. It's just when it's not your year, it is really not your year. Like, dead honest, I haven't looked at the points, and I'm not gonna, but I think I might have finished last. I would be if I didn't. Someone had a worse year. I feel bad for them.
I'm looking it up right now.
I was just gonna say, do you want us to fact check this, or do you want us to not fact this?
I'm pretty sure I might have been last.
We'll see. I'm looking right now.
Do you want us to say
that's the reality of the Open? Someone takes first, Jacob Porosnik, and someone takes last, Adam Bartusek.
But dude, I mean, to be fair, like it really does seem like the Opens are getting harder and harder and harder to fish.
Yeah,
in terms of competition.
Yeah, oh, for sure. But like, I want to fish against the best, and like Pickwick, I was definitely on the right thing. Like, so that's the saving grace. I was like, all right, Pickwick, I didn't adjust. It was my fault, but I found top 10 caliber. Like, I could have won that tournament if I adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
Smith, I'd never been to a blueback lake. I had no, like, maybe if I listened to my gut, I could have caught some on a buzzbait, but like, everybody ran up and did that.
Right.
You just gotta get lucky. Huh?
And I think Nick won. No, it wasn't Smith. He won Grant. Sorry,
he won Grant on a plopper. Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking Smith, but yeah, it's.
And dude, that's what's crazy. I threw that damn plopper for 2 days. Like, I had my co-angler one day throw it all day, and we never got a bite.
Wow,
that's weird.
The guy wins a tournament on it. You know, you're in the right part of the lake, doing the right thing, and it's crazy.
That's the craziest part of bass fishing is everybody's going to catch them doing something different, usually, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
I mean, it's a good learning experience. I'm looking forward to next year because, I mean, the great thing is there's nowhere to go but up.
Right. I mean, when you look back on the season, I mean, what's one thing that you're really proud of, and then maybe what's like the biggest lesson that you think you learned? Maybe it's not even fishing related, but like
the one thing I'm really proud of that doesn't necessarily even have to do with fishing is I did it. Like, one, I went and did it, and like, I was there. I gave myself the opportunity to do it, and like, I'm really proud of myself for going to Smith and especially Grant. Like, after doing terrible in 2 events, like, it is really hard to drive to the third one.
Yeah.
So like, I'm proud of myself for sticking it out and doing that. So that's just kind of the plan going forward, is just keep doing it. I think Josh Douglas, when he was on BTL, said it really well. He said when he first started, like, he did terrible too. But he said, like, he gave himself 5 years. And after 5 years, if he didn't feel like he could compete, he would call it, like, in terms of the Opens. And like, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Like, after 5 years and like filming all the events I have and being to so many bodies of water, like, if you can't get into that check range and all that with experience after that, like, then it might not be your thing. But it's an expensive 5 years.
It is.
Yeah.
Hey, what was, like, let's say, what was your average total cost per tournament for the 3 Opens, just so people know, like, how much it actually costs?
Yeah.
To do them.
Well, like, your entry fee is $1,800, obviously, but just disregarding that, I mean, you pay for those way ahead of time. So when you show up, you've kind of already forgot about it. I did anyways. And I think, like a lot of guys have said, I think it's important to forget about that, because if you're fishing, like, I need to get a check, you're not going to fish well. Granted, I didn't fish well at all, but I think that's an important thing as well. Each event, Probably around $1,000 with gas and everything.
Not terrible.
No, honestly, it's not terrible. Is it a money pit? Absolutely. If you're doing more than one circuit, it is exponentially more expensive because you stay on the road way longer.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just driving to 1 week and then driving home, it's not terrible.
So you'd say probably it costs you around $3,000 a tournament. So you're at $9,000 for the 3, roughly rounding up.
For about the year, yeah. And that, I mean, but that also doesn't cost like throwing a blade, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't take it into effect. So you talk about that sort of stuff in there too. I mean, 12.
And maybe the tackle you bought specifically for that tournament.
You could even put that into 1,000, 1,500 for the most part. I mean, that'll get you by. I mean, rarely do you really show up for an event and you're like, man, I really need to order all of these. Like I made like 2 orders before derbies, and that was like at Pickwick. I ordered like every rattle trap I could because I had like none of them, and I needed like 3/4 ounces. Like I needed heavy ones. But even with that, like, $50, whatever. Then you order it with guys you're staying with, the overnight cost, it's $60, whatever.
Yeah. Beyond the entry fee, obviously, I think it's tough. It's getting tougher with gas, but gas aside, you can get pretty cost effective when you travel. It's just, what are you willing to sacrifice?
Like we stayed, me, Chad Smith, and Connor Graham, and then we had 2 co-anglers stay with us this year. And like one of my rules of thumb when I travel, like, because I always stay in houses, I'm not a camper. I always try to find a place that it's less than $50 a person a night. And at Pickwick, it was like $38 a person a night. Smith was like 22, and Grand was literally 22 as well. Dollars a night per person. Like you're staying with a couple dudes, and like one guy's sleeping, co-angler sleeping on the couch, the other one's on an air mattress, but like you got plenty of room, you can cook your own food, like you're good. So
yeah,
if you kind of get a little group, it's not terrible. Honestly, just the worst part is when you suck. that really is it.
All right. Do you want the results of your AOI?
Did I take last?
No,
you did not. Not even
close. Oh, sick. All right, that's good. That's a win. That's my mini win for the year.
Close, but not last.
Yeah.
Andy,
I don't need to know the official one.
Yeah, I have it. You finished 225th. So there's like 260.
No, 62.
Yeah, most of those guys fish 1 or 2, so I still could have been last.
I don't think you were, honestly.
Hey, you beat Bill Weidler.
Oh, dang. Bill.
Sorry, Bill.
Yeah, no, it was tough. I mean, it was tough, but you learn, you move on, and I'm excited for next year.
Yeah, speaking about next year, let's one thing we were talking about is diving into the 2022 Opens, and I'm curious. So obviously, you looked at the schedule. Obviously, you've probably made your decision what you're going to fish. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But let's go through these. Actually, I think it makes more sense to let the folks know before we go through the schedule. Which division are you planning on fishing?
It's still not decided technically.
Which division are you leaning towards?
Here's the deal. I want to fish the Southerns.
Okay.
Because Kissimmee, grass, Florida in February, get away from Minnesota. That sounds great. Cherokee, smallmouth, like I'm all on board with that. And Hartwell, bluebacks, I've done the blueback thing once now. I'm not too terrified of it. Plus I need to eventually go to Hartwell. But the really tough thing with that is with filming the Crappie Chronicles this winter, that is right smack dab in the middle of it. So it's really hard for me to be like, yeah, I'm going to leave for a week and a half. Because I did that last year while filming it, and it sucks. Like I'm editing a video while I'm down there, and it's just not fun. So I want to do the Southerns, but also like I got a new boat on order, and I don't think my boat will be in by then. So like I'd have to lend a boat, which I just don't want to do. Like it's too big of a headache to worry about while I'm doing everything else.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So logistically, I don't think I can do the Southerns, which sucks because if you ask any single person who fishes Opens, they all say the Southerns is the best schedule. I would like to do the Northerns, kind of, because the James I've heard is actually pretty fun. And Oneida, like, I mean, you guys know, like up north, Oneida. I know it's not as good as it used to be.
Well, July might be decent because July.
Okay, I'll say it is a great lake to fish year round. It sucks
with
so
200
bad
boats.
with 200 boats on it because people say it's a big lake. It is not a big lake.
It's 12 miles long, right? It's either 12 or 20 miles long.
Something like that. It might look big because you can't see the other end.
It's like my thumb.
It fishes very, very small.
Yeah. Yeah. So that also in there, and then Chesapeake's whatever. But the big thing there is like a lot of the work I do in the summer is around kind of there, and there might be a conflict, there might not. And it's just really hard to leave in the middle of the summer when I know I have work going on here. Plus, around the 4th, normally I like to take a week off to hang out with my family since I like never get to see them anymore.
Yeah.
So that one's
have fun that week, buddy, on Oneida. Oh,
yeah,
God,
and it's July 4th on Oneida, which sounds just miserable.
No, you don't want to be there.
Schedule that.
Yeah, so that sounds like I know the guys were fishing in 4-footers and big winds there, but like I fished Minnetonka and I would take 4-footers in wind way over boat traffic.
Yeah,
I got good legs from Minnetonka, but there ain't nothing like boat traffic 4-footers. You can't fish in those.
So does that leave that you're leaning towards the Centrals?
That means I am leaning towards probably fishing the Centrals, which sounds and looks absolutely miserable.
Well,
so I figure after my terrible year, we might as well just really, really just make
have a bad one.
Yeah.
Ugh, Red River.
Let's dive right in. All right, shall we? Shall we?
Yeah, for sure. I think I'll be doing the. I'm about 80% sure now I'll be doing the Centrals.
Okay. Well, we'll tune back in once we make our mind up. We'll have you.
It's probably going to be the Centrals.
Okay.
It's the only thing holding me back is that I don't want to go to the Red River.
Yeah, I think you and like half the field.
You mean like 95% of the field?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone except for Greg Hackney, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with the Southerns. February 3rd to 5th on, like you mentioned, in Kissimmee, Florida, on the Kissimmee chain of lakes. I think as we dive through these, let's think, one, how it's going to be won, and then let's throw out weights a day. Weights a day to win. But I would say weights a day to cash a check, but I don't know enough about all these places to really.
No, it would be too tough. I mean, dude, literally one thing I learned in the Opens, almost any place you go, you can look at the check line and be like, is it really, it's good? Oh, probably 13 to 14 pounds. Oh, it sucks. Well, it could be anywhere from 7 to 11 a day. That's about it.
Fair enough.
And the red might be if you catch a keeper.
Yeah, it might be 2 pounds.
Yeah.
Is that a 12-inch limit or is it 15?
I don't know. Whenever I get there, I'll figure it out.
If it has gills and looks greenish, it qualifies as a bass.
Yeah. Keeping redfish.
Yeah. All right. Kissimmee chain. Let's go around the room here. How do you think it's going to be won? And then wait a day to win. Bart, kick us off.
Early February out there. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be fish on beds and like it's Florida, so it'll be shallow. But normally, I would assume that time of year it's gonna be by one by someone offshore, which like offshore in Florida is like 3 to 6 feet, and some of the grass like on a hard spot or a weed pocket or something like that. So I'm guessing that's probably how it'll get won. Like Josh Douglas always, if I remember right, he always did really well on Kissimmee. Like you said, and Josh and Chad told me, he's like, I'd love it there. But yeah, I think it'll be a lot of scanning, more offshore stuff, maybe flipping pads and stuff. But it's Florida. You're going to see someone bring in 2 8-pounders and 3 squeakers. So
is Kissimmee, do they have a lot of shell bars like Harris?
yes. I think it's got more than Harris, if I remember
Oh,
right.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of shell bars.
Interesting.
I could totally be wrong too, but
It's probably gonna be a trap and a chatterbait deal.
Gold trap,
like
white
a good old speed worm stuff.
Yep.
Like that.
Isn't that how Keith won? Is that just a white chatterbait?
Maybe.
I know it's a chatterbait because
Keith won on Harris with a chatterbait. Yeah.
Because the last time the Open was there was what Whitney Stevens won it, I think, in Florida. 2 years ago or 3 years ago in
the last Kissimmee one.
It's been a couple.
I think
years.
Douglas was in the top 10. I think he almost won.
Yeah, I think I remember that. No, was that last year?
It was
like 3 or 4 years ago, I want to say.
I thought Buddy Gross won one out there.
Who knows?
That could be wrong too.
I think he won the one there, the FLW tour.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah. Because him and Cox were on like a bed fishing fest and just smoked the entire field.
Yeah, that might have been the one. I'm thinking of Douglas too, doing really well because he was offshore. But yeah, guess a day. 18.
Yeah, I was gonna say 17 to 19.
17, 18, probably.
What, to win?
Yeah, a day.
Because you'll have 23, 15, 22 or something like that, or 26, 15.
I mean, if they hit it right, it could be just crazy. But the
15,
other thing to remember with the Open
30.
200 something boats, not 100. That's
Right.
a big difference.
Yeah.
That is a huge difference.
If the elites went there that time of year, I'd say like 23 a day with 100 boats. But with 200, 17, 18 probably.
Let's see. Yeah, no disagreements there. I don't really know Kissimmee well to even put a stamp on how it would be won. I do agree it'll probably be won offshore. I think you get enough guys that get up shallow and flipping. There's only so many, opportunities or productive areas that aren't going to get hit by so many people, especially over 3 days. And I think you probably have to have a mix of both. I think you have to have an offshore deal and then maybe 1 or 2 small little stretches that you're going to go flip.
I think you're going to see a lot of Elite Series anglers fish in that tournament.
Because they have Harris.
They have Harris and St. John's in Florida in February.
Oh, so they're like, while they're down there, they might as well.
They would start on Kissimmee, and then I think they go to St. John's, and then they go back to Harris.
Yeah, and they're all, like an hour apart from each other, basically, because they're all on the same
Kissimmee to St. John's is probably 2.5, but, like, St. John's to Harris is
a pond skip. Yeah.
Hour 15, maybe. I drove there, literally, in February. It's like an hour 15.
And they're all on the Atlantic coast, too, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, they're all just right. Well, you kind of, they're all close. Like, it's nowhere, There's going to be a lot of elites there. And the reason is because the next Open that we'll talk about on Cherokee, I believe that's right before they go to Santee Cooper.
It's right after Santee and right before Chickamauga.
Yeah, so it's right on the way. Yeah.
Yeah, the next one at Cherokee Lake, March 31st to April 2nd.
Smallmouth.
I heard Mike Huff
could be one with largemouth.
Could be.
It'll probably be smallmouth.
I heard Mike Huff put gobies in there.
Really?
No, he was joking with us when he was on the show, texting us afterwards saying, bring a live well down of gobies to Cherokee.
I don't know enough about the weights on Cherokee to tell you, but I'd guess like 15 or 16 a day.
Yeah, I'd say.
I don't know what spawn is for some of these places.
I think that's going to be pre-spawn, right? You're going to be getting close.
Hit it on the head.
I mean, dude, they're just going to smash them. That's the one Open where everybody's going to smash them.
Is that Cherokee is above?
And Cherokee isn't that big.
It's right above Douglas, I believe. Like they're really close to each other.
Is that more north of Chickamauga, or is that?
It's really close to Knoxville. It's like 45 minutes from Knoxville.
Oh yeah, they're not going through spawn, or they're about to spawn like the next week and a half or two.
Yeah, they'll be pre-spawn if it's warm, maybe pulling up, but it should be a hammer
or
fest.
full moon
or a full moon. Yep, absolutely. But seeing the usual Ned rig, swim bait. I'd love to see someone win one of these on a spinnerbait because it should get one on a spinnerbait that time of year. If I went there, I'd be throwing a spinnerbait a lot.
Yeah,
fun.
And
Jerkbait, underspin. I don't know. It's smallmouth. Whatever you want to throw at them pre-spawn and that they'll eat. You just got to get around the right size.
Well, an Upshaw won flipping a wacky rig, didn't he?
He was flipping in the wacky rig and a Ned rig, but they were spawning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Felix almost won that one too, and he was doing the same thing. They're basically sight fishing. I don't think you can actually sight fish there. I think the water's too dirty.
So moving on to the third and last one of the Southerns, that is October 6th to the 8th on Lake Hartwell in South Carolina, where the Bassmaster Classic is going to be.
Yeah, that'll be 15, 16 a day. There's going to be drastic weight drop-offs, but that's what it'll be.
Just whoever can get a big
13, 14 to make the top 10.
Well, don't forget, like when they were there last time, Cody Honor, the first day, busted like 20 to 22.
Of all largemouth, right?
Yeah, all largemouth. So like,
it's possible. I mean, I think if you can have
he made the final day only catching like 2 fish the next day, I think.
Yeah, so if you have 1 kicker a day, I mean, and then the limit, I think you'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, that one will be blueback, so it's going to be top water, live scope.
Chasing rogues.
Chasing fish. I think cane piles play a lot there. So that type of deal.
Will we see Hank Cherry three-peat and then go win the Open?
It very well could. You can throw a jerkbait in both of them.
That's just fair. Any other thoughts on Hartwell before we move on to the Centrals?
What was funny about Hank, though, when I was filming Hank, just kind of a funny side topic, but everyone thinks of him as a jerkbait fisherman because he is unbelievable at it. But when I was filming him, he told me his favorite thing to do is flip docks with a jig. Favorite thing in the world. And that's absolutely the complete opposite of throwing a jerkbait.
Oh, 100%.
It could not be more different.
Polar opposite.
Like, I was filming him on Pickwick. And we went into this dock stretch, and I was like, "You like fishing docks?" And he's like, "Man, this is my favorite thing to do." I was like, "Really?"
It's like, yeah, my forearms don't hurt from jerking all day.
Yeah, you're not on fire.
His forearms have to be like this big, like.
Yeah, he's awesome. But yeah, no, Hartwell will be interesting. But
all right, Central Opens. First one is on April 28th to the 30th at Ross Barnett, which I feel like the Bass hasn't been back to in years.
Cannell, that's where Cannell won.
There's giants, but not a ton of fish, right?
I think. I talked to people, and they're like, it's really tough, but like, it's really good.
I remember it being big weights.
The weights weren't very big when Dustin won. They might have had a blow day, though. I can't remember. They did?
No, they fished during the blow day, but they made it really miserable. Like, I know there was quite a few giants caught, like 6-7 pounders plus.
Yeah, like there's freaks in that lake. And there's a lot of rebar to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Cannell won in 17. Day one had Brandon Card was leading with 22-14. There was 4 bags over 20. Day 2.
What was big fish of the event, though?
That's a great question. I don't know where to find that. Day 2, Cannell was leading with, he had 16-11 on day 2 with 19 on day 1. Day 3. Let's see.
What time of year was this?
They were there in like August, I think, like super late.
I do not think it was that. I think it was like March.
You might be right, huh? Nope, July 15th.
Cannell had On day 3, had 15.5, kept the lead. So that means day 4, he only had like 12 pounds.
They were there for 2 months. April 27th through July 15th.
What the? That's why
Yeah, I
I
remember looking that up. I think it was the 27th. I think it's the same time frame, actually.
Yeah, he had 19 pounds, 16 pounds, 15 pounds, 12 pounds.
Yeah, so with an open, you're looking at 15 a day, probably 16. From what I've heard about that place, it's going to be a junk fishing factory.
Which, does that suit your style? Not suit your style?
Absolutely not.
Well, you better get into some junk.
Got to get better. So we're
It was,
gonna
the first. It was May
out.
1st. They were there.
May 1st.
May 1st.
So it's that same time frame.
Yeah.
I think if I remember right, KVD was catching them deep cranking or something. If I could get into that, I'm all about
deep
that.
Cranking? Nah, it doesn't sound like him.
It was either deep cranking or square billing. Is one of the two.
Yeah, he was throwing a crankbait. I know that.
Well, then your favorite one is next. You have to literally wait until end of April to the end of September.
Yeah, just like this year.
Yeah, to just go fish the Red River.
Yeah, so pumped.
Yeah.
So it'll probably take, I'm going to say 23 to 26 pounds a day, I think, to win.
Yeah, probably. It's a hammer hole.
Yeah, whoever brings
you weighing catfish, right?
Yeah, biggest catfish, biggest channel cat.
Redfish.
Yeah. No, I mean, I honestly can't even give you weight predictions because I don't think the winner will catch a limit every day.
If you have weight, you will bring home money.
If you catch 5 fish every day, you will win that tournament. I legitimately think. Like, if you look back at Red River tournaments, I believe that's correct. Like, it is not good.
It sounds like you're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Put something black and blue in your hand and just go flip everything that you can.
That's probably the
and take the hook off
and
because
a Colorado blade spinnerbait.
Yeah. You have to take the hook off because every fish that you catch in practice is going to be crucial.
Yeah. Catch one and you're going to be like, God dang it.
Why did I do that?
Well, there goes the tournament, boys. Let's drive home.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, and then the last one of the Centrals, October 20th to 22nd. It is the latest of the Opens, the last one. And that is on Sam Rayburn in Texas.
So that's the one that's going to get me through the Centrals because I still think it's going to be tough, but like there's just a ton of fish in there. So
should be fun.
I think you can do a bunch of different things.
Better than Louisville.
Yeah, I think you can go deep, you can go shallow, you can fish grass, you can fish brush. I think you can do a bit of all of it. So I'm excited for that one.
Nice. What do you think you're going to be doing?
I don't know.
That's not a fun answer.
It's like
I haven't even really thought about it. Like, dude, if it comes to me and those first 2 I had to fish shallow the whole time, I'll probably just scan for 4 days and be like, wonder what the brush pile's having them.
So mag draft, 6XD. You're gonna
Carolina rigged lizard.
Yeah.
Carolina rigged.
Oh, we'll have some fun. Yeah, if I can fish brush piles, I'm all about it. Like that'd be cool. So
jerk baiting them on brush.
Yeah.
All right. Last division here, the Northern Opens, and that's going to start on April 14th to the 16th at the James River again, just like last year.
From what I have talked to people that time of year there, they think it's going to be a hammer fest.
I do believe that is correct.
Like, biggest bags of the year.
That could be a lot of fun to watch those waves or even be fishing that. That could be.
Yeah, I think they're saying, I'm going to guess that one 18, 19 a day.
Like it's big weights there. I mean, there's damn big fish, but I think it's funny how last year with the pressure, how a lot of guys were downsizing, just keeping a spin rod in their hands, and then BP picks up an 8-inch mag draft and wins.
Yeah.
You went big instead. I think you'll see a lot of guys doing that instead.
It'll get one finesse fishing. Everyone's going to be throwing.
Yeah, now we flip-flopped. Yeah. You're going to see these giant freaking swim baits all over their heads, and
How'd you win?
So the next one,
Neko rig.
yeah. Next one is July 7th and 9th. Going to be a lot of fun for you guys in practice with the nice July 4th boaters on good old Oneida Lake in Syracuse, New York. An absolute fun place to fish when there's 200 boats. Basically, if you're going to catch, I think, let's look it up from this past year. While we're at it, we might as well look up the weights from last year.
Probably going to take, I still think it's going to take 17 or 18 a day, won't it?
To win, yeah.
In July, they're going to be post-spawn at that point, like
But
just getting into summer pattern.
So
it's
it'll be
17, 18, 15, 14, 11, 11, 11, 11. Probably what it's going to be.
In July, I bet you get a couple closer to 20.
Wasn't it late July this year anyways?
I think it was August.
It was August, I believe.
Was it August?
Which is the worst time of year to go there because you have all the year of the young perch and shad and crab. July is a lot better there from everything I've heard.
All I know is the 2 weekends before the Open was there, it was one with over 20 pounds for all the local tournaments.
Yeah, July will be good. They'll catch them a lot better because they'll want to be eating.
I'm going to bet you my bottom dollar, and I'll save this clip, that it's going to be exactly the same. That lake is so damn small. I am willing to bet my bottom dollar. Let's see. Let's see what it took just to catch a chick.
Probably like 11 a day or 8 a day.
Look at that. One of our hometown boys, Casey Smith, was 40th. Catch a chick with 21-13. So 10.5 pounds, pretty much. That's tough. So, I mean, I'm going to say it's not – I'll give it 12 pounds a day, but I don't think it's going to be much easier with that time of year. Just being at that lake with 200 boats, I don't think that'll bode well. But the next one, I've heard rumors that is going to be as good as James River, if not the best one on the schedule in terms of weight. Some people don't agree with it. Some people, especially locals, say it's going to be really good. But that is September 8th to the 10th on the upper Chesapeake Bay in Maryland, which I know nothing about.
I know zero.
Massive
I
flat
just know
grass.
the elite events. They've been there at weird times, and when you'll see Carl catch like 18 pounds, and then you're like, but like sixth place is like 9. And you're like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, because I think that was the year that Aaron won and Swindle stayed right by the ramp fishing retreads and caught like 10 pounds a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they're in a local tournament there this year. There was a 10-pounder caught.
Oh, yeah, there's giants.
There's freak giants in there. Yeah, I mean, it's September. In my experience, that time of year, early September is always the worst fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea how it's going to be, but it sounds like it could be pretty good, according to some people. But so obviously you want to be fishing the Southerns, as you mentioned, but you might not be able to fish the Northerns. But
the next choice would be the Northerns if I could, but
at least the Northerns.
I can't. I think I might have a work conflict, so then I can't.
Right.
If I don't have a work conflict, I'll do the Northerns, even though it's going to suck driving.
Well, you got a place to stay in Buffalo.
Yeah, for sure. And I know Oneida fish is small, but it's going to be just like home, so I'm not too worried about it.
It is fairly similar, yeah, I would say. But it's going to be an interesting schedule. I mean, I don't think it's – I'll say this, that it looks pretty much the same schedule as last year. I will say people think it's the worst, but I think what's most intriguing is the Central Open schedule, just because it just seems very diverse, if that makes any sense.
It's going to be weird.
I think it's going to say a lot about the guy who wins AOI for that division. I mean, you're gonna earn that damn thing. I'll tell you that. I mean,
yeah, I
might be able to have a bad tournament
to
and
go
make it
from worst to first, right?
Yeah, like Andy just said, you could definitely get like a 50th place finish and still win the Open's AOI for that division. You never know.
Yeah.
Because especially the Red River, dude. I mean, you get a guy catches a limit over a guy that catches 2 fish. I mean, that's a huge gap. You never know what can happen there.
Or you could be in 10th place with 2 fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got no clue.
Any other
I just know
predictions?
I want to be fishing the opens, and I got to do what's best for like. I also have to do what's best for business, like.
Right.
You know, until I decide I'm going to do all 9. Once I decide, I'll do all 9 or I'll do 6 or whatever. I was debating doing 6 going into this year, and then I kind of saw the schedule and just how it lays out, and I was like, I just don't think I can do it.
So you're just gonna go fish Toyotas instead?
No. I was debating it, but no.
No. Well, dude, obviously opens. We hope that this coming year will be much better for you than this past. But even though it wasn't exactly how you wanted it to go, it still went, and that was one of the goals for you. And you learned a lot from it. So I think either way, it might have sucked. In the time being, I think it's a win moving forward after your first open season. So hopefully the next one, some things will click a little bit better for you, and obviously do a little bit better. But
it's all a learning experience, and like as much as you say that, like you can still say it just sucked. Like that is true.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you try to pull what you can learn from it, but at the same time, it's hard to pull much when it's just bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just try to do better, and the biggest thing is just getting back on the horse and doing it. Because yeah, like you have thoughts of like, should I even do it next year? But then it's like, well, then I'm never gonna go do it again. So I might as well do it now while I can, and see how we can do.
Heck yeah, dude. Anything else on the opens before we wrap this thing up?
No, not really about the opens.
Andy?
I'm excited for the Elite Series schedule next year.
Oh,
I don't think I'll be filming any of it, but I'm freaking jacked. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's a bomb schedule. We're gonna have some fire fantasy fishing shows coming up for that.
Yeah, I'm excited for, and I think like one thing I did really learn this year, I think too, is a lot of the opens I went to and like events in general, like I've been so slammed busy with work and just everything that I haven't really gotten to really prep that much or like really get my mind into it or anything. It kind of just showed up and did it. And obviously that doesn't go very well. So I think like next year, my big thing is like, obviously this winter is going to be super busy, and I just want to be more mentally prepped and more like really jacked to go do it, because I think I learned, obviously I started a business, signed up to do all of it. But I really learned with doing that first Lake tournament and then following the elites all of February into March and then going to the opens and like just keeping going, I slowly was losing like my excitement for like, oh, I get to go down south. Like, here we go. It was more of like a chore.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely burned out at that point.
For sure. Which like you fall, I'll be like, I'm honestly just not excited to rig rods for you fall. I just hate rigging rods. But
who likes it?
I don't know. Hayden does. Loves it. Just keep tying them.
This is why Hayden and I would make great friends.
Yeah. But like for me, another reason I think I'm gonna do the Centrals is just as much as it's not, maybe it will be fun. I don't know. But as much as I think it's gonna suck, like I need to fish that Eufaula Derby in December, and then I need like 5 months of no tournament bass fishing, and like watching it on, watching Bass Live, watching that stuff, and like becoming a fan of it again. Because like I was at the events, like I got to watch a bit of it, but I was working, so like I almost feel like I missed a full year of it in a way.
Right.
So like that was honestly has been a big thing. Like really today I was talking to some people, and that's kind of where I made up my mind. I think I'm going to do the Centrals, is just, I need to rekindle that because I know it's what I want to do, and I can't just burn myself to the ground doing it. I need those 5 months, and like that March and February where maybe I'm not ice fishing, I need that time to just chill at home or go fun fishing out in Iowa or South Dakota or Wisconsin, wherever. But I need that. So I think that's just important for everyone to know, like, yeah, I'm living the dream. A lot of us get to go do it all day, all the time, but you got to take care of yourself. Like, I've been burning myself to the iron just because with COVID and everything, like there hadn't been a lot of things you can go do. And now that everything's kind of more open, you can. So I just need to go have a regular life as well.
I heard that, dude. I mean, there's only so much moving and grooving and nonstop and with no rest that you can take before your body just starts to shut down.
Yeah, and that's like the Elite Series guys, like, yeah, they have 9 weeks and like it's grueling and a lot of them spend more than that time on the road. But the biggest thing is once August 30th hits, basically, they're home doing whatever they want. They get a huge reset. Mm-hmm. Like, man, I feel for the guys like who are fishing the Opens trying to make the Elites fishing all 9, you know, like Pangrack and Hallman and Upshaw and all these guys, because like they just finished. They're going to start on Kissimmee and then they're going to go until the end of October again next year. And like, as much as people are like, oh, you get a month in the summer or whatever, 1 month flies by. 3 or 4 months, when you get that backed up together, all of a sudden towards the end of it, you're like, I'm itching, I'm ready. By the end of 1 month, you're like, I'm kind of ready, but not really.
Because you're still going out and fishing too around home just to stay fresh.
Yeah. Whereas now, like, you can have all that time off. So I think that's really big. And honestly, maybe that's one of the biggest things I learned this year is just more of you can keep trying to do it and beating your head against the wall, but you got to do it smart too.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Yeah. Well, dude, we are going to wrap things up here, but it's been good to get you back on the show.
Yeah,
and
good seeing you, bud.
I think this is a good opportunity to kind of hint at some things that are coming for the fantasy fishing shows, because we're taking – that was obviously one of people's favorites this past year was the fantasy fishing previews and the recaps that we did.
By the way, I still haven't gotten a bait from Andy or Deacon.
I know. I told you I have it.
He's texted me and told me it's on the way, but I haven't heard anything from Deacon. So,
well, Deacon had mentioned it like a month ago. He goes, "Oh, did you get something for Bart yet?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I shipped him stuff like 2 months ago."
I have it.
It's sitting in my basement. Sitting right here.
Well, no, I'm saying, yeah. So Deacon, I'm saying, is what messaged me a while ago and said
it's a sick top water. I almost took it to Smith.
Yeah, I've never actually used that. I was actually going to ask you the other day how that thing was, if you ever actually used it. But
I will throw it eventually, yeah.
Yeah. But Deacon's like, oh, did you send Bart his thing? I was like, yeah, like a month after he won, not even. And he goes, oh, I haven't sent anything yet. And it was like, I should probably do that today. So most likely knowing Deacon, he's like me, where he's got a lot of ADHD. He probably completely forgotten, like still doesn't know until he.
I'll just make him buy stuff for me at Eufaula. We're staying together at Eufaula.
Oh, there you go. So what you should do is when you're like buying tackle and stuff for the championship, just be like browsing. It's like, just basically do an Instagram story or something and call his ass out and be like, hey, you haven't gotten me anything? While you're buying tackle for the national championship, you should order my crap and bring it down for me.
Yeah, just like we're walking into a local bait shop and he's grabbing stuff. I'm like, so where's my stuff?
Yeah, you should just like grab something you want from that shop while he's buying crap and throw it in his box and be like, that's from fantasy fishing.
Yeah, I might have to. It's just fun to get things I wouldn't normally buy. Like, that's why I'm excited for whatever Andy's going to send me. And
well, you know it's coming. I'm trying to find that Whopper plopper. That's the only thing I can't find. I have
too many Whopper ploppers. You don't need to find that.
All right, I won't send it then. All right, I'll send you something else.
Send me something else. I got like 10 of them now because of Grand Lake, and I'm never going to throw that fucking thing again. Pardon my French.
I was going to buy that, is it G-Crack that makes it? Whoever makes the literal piece of poop that people fish now. I was going to, they're like $10 for
the depth cover scats.
The scats, whatever those things are. I was like, all right, I'm gonna order like 3 of these for Bart. I'm like, It's kind of a jerk move. I was like, I'll throw it in the top water.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Dude, I want it. Like, I've been trying to catch up on work because the Mississippi River bite's just fuego right now. And like this bait, I could go catch. I mean, I don't even know how many smallmouth I could catch on that thing. So
Yeah.
I want to do it, but I'm not going to be able to. So it's whatever.
Well,
Like I pulled my boat on. I pulled my boat out of the water in Minnesota on September like 28th. And I looked at Waldo and I said, dude, I legit think this is the last time my boat's going to be in the water in Minnesota.
Jeez.
Because of opens and then filming other things. Like, I just don't think it's going to happen. So
you'll have to send me a picture of the first one you catch on that top water, if you can remember.
I will. I'll remember it. I'll for sure remember it. I'll be like, yeah, Bailey got me this.
Oh, word. There we go. Well, we'll have to. One, we're going to up the ante, I think, for next year. Two,
that's fine. I'll mop the floor again.
I'm not going to pick like a dumbass like last year.
1 percentiles.
1 percentiles and then be too stubborn to change throughout the rest of the year. But also we have some really cool stuff. Like we're going to try to, if everyone's schedules can align, try to make every show a live show on Monday nights, have giveaways for each week. We're going to really like make this thing like its own series. We got some sponsor involvement coming into. It's going to be a wicked cool deal. So we're excited for that for all of us. So and for you guys, because those shows, everyone seemed to enjoy our take. Because I think one, either we all agreed, or two, we all completely disagreed and then bickered about it for 10 minutes.
And we all had 4 different picks.
Yeah.
Unless, and then we all just started following.
Then everyone got mad at me for always picking Felix.
Yeah. We're like, Bart's going to pick. It's either Fighter or Felix. One of the two. I'm going to Fighter, Felix, and Douglas.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'll divide my picks.
They're all in Group A. He's going to be like, crap.
I should take that back. Fighter, Felix.
Douglas might be my new Felix next year because he's going to catch him everywhere.
I mean, you could almost potentially.
If you want to talk about early season rookie of the year, if he qualifies for it, which I think he will.
He's going to.
I think he will. I don't know though. If he does qualify for rookie of the year, he's going to be tough to beat.
I can tell you in 1 second.
Do they count FLW winnings?
No.
Yes. I thought they did.
Yeah, that was a definitive answer.
No, because
I'm pretty sure they do.
Well, because Buddy Gross was considered a rookie, and there's no way if they count FLW that he would have been a rookie. If that makes sense.
But then there's been other guys who have come over from FLW that didn't count as rookies. There's like a cut line.
Felix won rookie of the year, and I think he definitely easily would have won over $100,000 over in FLW.
I thought it was like over $1 million.
I think it's 250,000.
Is that what it is?
I think it's 250.
Ooh,
because Buddy Gross was like just underneath it.
Okay. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know.
Even if it is 100,000, I mean, Josh Douglas only has $84,000 in bass, so he's.
But FLW,
they count FLW. I'm pretty sure
he's got a handful of FLW trophies. It's going to be really close.
Because if they didn't count FLW, then Randall Tharp would have been able to win Rookie of the Year when he came over.
Yeah, or Christie,
or Scott Martin.
Yeah.
Do they combine bass and FLW?
Yeah, it's total career winnings for whatever like professional tournament circuit you fish.
Is it going to be like $100 under, maybe?
I think so, dude.
I think it's 250. I'm pretty sure it's 250. Was it like $1?
Hold on, let me make sure I did this math right.
That'd be nuts if it's like less than $10.
No, it's definitely not that.
But it's close.
It's pretty freaking close.
Like if he cashed another check, he might be in trouble.
$246,414 if you can.
Oh, so if it's 250, he's a rookie.
He's a squeaker.
He's a rookie.
He's squeaking in.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is don't sleep on my boy Jacob Fouts. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh no, for sure. I think it's super cool. You know that Douglas was his cameraman.
Yeah.
When he won the college deal.
Yeah.
In Bemidji.
I'm sure that'll be a story that Bass brings up at some point. But all I'm going to say, I'm going to leave it at this point, is I'm really excited for when Fouts makes his first top 10 and gets on stage day 4. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'll let everyone prosper in the suspense, but just wait until Jacob gets on stage day 4, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Watch out for the rookie from Wisconsin, Jay Shakira.
Dude, and his dad is a pro for the National Walleye Tour.
Yeah, he's a monster, dude. He's
I'm
won.
excited,
I think he's won a handful of events as a co. He just qualified his first year as a pro.
He won 2 events as a co. I think 2 big. I'm trying to remember what they were, but they're maybe Toyotas.
I think he won a co-angler of the year too. Like he's really good.
Heck yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun to watch.
And like after day 1 at Grand, I was staying right by him. Like he kind of was in. He might have been like 59th to 70th after day 1 at Grand. Said he dumped a bunch of fish, and he was just like, it's not meant to be, whatever. Then next day he goes out and he's like, maybe it's meant to be because he blasted him. He got in and he got in and it was like, man, that he's good. He's really good. I don't think he's been to a lot of places, so we'll see how good he really is. But dude, he's good.
Well, even so, dude, like if he can stay alive, I mean, look at Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's proof that you can get better the more experience you get with places. So
always.
Yeah.
Always.
Those northern guys are taking over.
Slowly but surely.
We got 2 more of them now, Jay and Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the thing. There's no secret.
Technically,
anymore.
Jacob Fouts is a northerner. He's from Ohio.
Dude, that whatever.
If you live within 100 miles of Lake Erie, if you live within 100 miles of Lake Erie, you are a northerner.
Yeah, but then they're only like, depending on where he is in Ohio, he's like 2.5 hours from Kentucky Lake.
Yeah, so
he's technically a southerner.
Ohio is north to me.
Depends
if you
on
have
where
to
you are.
drive over 10 hours to get to like every single open, you're a northerner.
He's probably close. He lives on Chickamauga now, so he's not a northerner now.
I basically speak of it in this. When I say northerners, there's New Yorkers and there's northerners. New Yorkers are different because you guys get a bunch of events over by you. We get nothing. We had 1 open in La Crosse 2 years ago, and we were like, "Oh my god!"
You get a BPT event next year.
You have what?
You get a BPT event in September on Mille Lacs.
Yeah, they're gonna hate that. They're all like giant bags, dude. It's gonna be like 40 pounds a day,
maybe
when they go there. Yeah, it ain't gonna be that good.
Oh boy!
I mean, Noah just won a boat there September 9th or something. He caught like 56 pounds, I think. And like he only caught like 15 fish.
And that's a local hammer.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Major League Fishing has announced, Boyd Duckett announced at least on Bass Talk Live that there will be Major League Fishing, fantasy fishing. So if that does come to fruition, maybe we'll have to dabble into incorporating that somehow. I don't know how, what format or whatever.
Just have to have another show.
That's fine with me. I'm okay with another show. We'll force Bart to get on while he's driving and make his picks. And
yeah, you're just getting my schedule busier and busier. I love it.
It's only an hour.
Here's what we're gonna do. We'll up the ante for bass, but for Major League Fishing, there's gonna be a consequence for the loser. How about that?
Then do I just get yelled at if I pick Wheeler every event?
Yeah. Oh, that should be our ante. Nobody can pick Wheeler.
Or what about this? What about we do? I don't know. Again, this all depends on what format, software, what the hell they do. But like, what if we combine their fantasy fishing, if it's anything like bass, with Unlock the Lake, where it's like we have our own deal with that, where it's like we can only pick one guy for each event. Like, I don't know. We'll figure it out when the time comes. But it's not where spitballing here on a show. People are like, "Shut up, you idiots!" Or they probably already tuned off to this thing. But either way, if it comes to fruition, we'll try to find a way to incorporate the BPT into our fantasy fishing shows somehow. But boys, I think we are going to sign off here for the night. Anything you guys want the folks to know before we say sayonara?
No, I mean, if people like watching YouTube videos and they're bored this winter and they want to watch something, like, you don't even have to really like ice fishing. I I try to tell a really good story with the Crappie Chronicles. So if you want to just enjoy something
Phenomenal
else
job.
and binge on it, come on over and watch.
Heck yeah. And obviously that'll all be plugged down below in the description, so you guys can go right to Bart's channel.
You can watch all of season 1. It's all right there. You can catch up.
Heck yeah. Andy, anything for the folks?
No, as everybody's listening to this, I'll be on a trout stream on a guided trip. I'm waking up at 4:00 in the morning, so it's gonna be fun. Well, I'm not gonna go to bed till probably 1 because I have all kinds of crap I still have to do.
Well, good luck, buddy. I think this is your first steelhead trip, right?
Yeah, it's Steve, so it's gonna be fun.
Oh, heck yeah. All right, well, boys, it's been a good night. I appreciate you again, Bart. It's good to get you back on the show, and we'll get you back on soon. But folks, we will see you guys on Monday night.